Or a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM for 93.7 The Ticket.
How was your job at school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson from Lake Public Schools on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome to 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson, and welcome back. I'm excited. We got Harrison back on the board today, so after kind of a week out. So how you doing?
Not too bad. Did you go to the spring game at all yesterday?
You know what? Like I said, I'm a fair weather fan. So, and I mean, and it's not a fan of Husker football. I'm just a fair weather person in general. And to be perfectly honest, that was a little bit below my temperature grade. So, yeah. Could not hit that. But it was exciting to see the town kind of buzzing again and people out there. How about you? I know you were running the board and the ticket was busy.
Yeah, the ticket was down there. Luckily, I didn't have to be down there freezing my butt off. I saw everyone else down there, and it looked pretty tough out there. To say the least, but we ran the board. I was up here yesterday, but no, they had everyone down there. I think that was kind of the first time everyone got to see Amon Green, on the ticket crew, which is really cool. And I didn't realize he was the esports coach until we got him on here. Yeah, and I didn't realize he's super into that. But no, it was kind of cool. I think that was kind of the first time in a while that everyone got to see like the ticket crew for the most part. Sipple had to leave early, and I think VJ had to dip right after, but it was kind of cool. Everyone was down there. I know. Like I said, I like warm weather too, so I went home and watched the rest of my TV. Yeah. But no, a lot of turnovers. We won't dive too much into it. We got a couple scholars we'll talk to, but real quick, what'd you think about the game?
I kind of bounced between that, and I'm not going to lie to you. I watched the Colorado one too. Okay. I went in, I was like, man, I was just intrigued, and I'm a Dion fan, and I know people will go one way or the other on that, but he put on a show, and he does it I think does it just in a way to engage people, and it was kind of cool to watch, like in the snow, and his son, it's a spring game, wherever you're at, I think you want your ones to do well, but it was just a nice production. They did it really from a pro standpoint, and so you could see after they ran, I think about 15-20 minutes, they broke like a 7-on-7, and then they also did the the linemen did some work and stuff, kickers. So it was just kind of, and then just him talking. Yeah. I'm sorry. You just can't, Rule I love how he's kind of just consistent on message. Like, we've got to take care of things. We're about business here. It's no more about losing, just we're okay with, we put forward a good effort, but Dion just transcends. Like, he could come into a FBLA, conference, and you would get nuggets that you apply to life. And that's what I like about him.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think the over-under is 5.5 now for Colorado. Yeah. That one's a tough one. I'm tempted. I almost want to take the over on it. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's kind of the same thing as Matt Rule. Like what I was watching yesterday, I think Matt Rule can say all the right things, but I'm still that offensive line. You know, that's kind of what I saw yesterday. It's still really thin. There's not a lot of depth back there. So if anyone gets hurt, you know, I think that'll probably be the problem for Nebraska again. So I would think year one, my expectations for Matt Rule are a little lower, but Deion Sanders, I think they might have a very similar start.
Yeah,
just based on the talent they have right now.
I think just bringing back some excitement in both places. I mean, I think you're not in a good place. If Nebraska's not, there's excitement, and then Colorado has been one of those places to see like Cordell Stewart and those individuals back. Those are people that I remember. So I think it was cool all the way around. Football's around the corner, but we still got spring sports, even though the weather doesn't look like it outside. And I'm excited. We got some scholars here to play baseball, and I know this is not the ideal weather. You're coming towards the end of April, and you're just like, my car said like 60 some, and I forgot it was in the garage. And then I pulled it out, and all of a sudden the thing just went south. But it's kind of been cool to see. Soccer, they had the hack championships that went on, and so a couple Lincoln schools represented. I think Lincoln Southwest ended up with that title, and then baseball wise, we're going through that process, and so seeing all the teams in action. And so that's been neat to see. We also got, kind of the one acts and the last kind of plays. I don't want to say plays, but productions from the theater and the arts groups. And so they've kind of been tying up the year. I know we've got, like I said, Northwest in here, but they've been doing their performances. They're over at Northeast doing theirs because their space is not quite complete yet. So that's exciting. And so you just got a lot of things, I think, just going on, just kind of in the community. Prom. We've got, like I said, it's just, you go through your thread and you see just everybody like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay. So I think Southwest and North Star had theirs last night here locally. And then you're seeing like Creed and Waverly, all of, everybody's having those celebrations. So that's really cool. I think even the better part is you wake up in the morning and, everybody had a good time, but made good choices and were safe. And so I think at the end of the day, you really want that. And then you're just seeing some of the AAU stuff kick off. You're seeing volleyball. They're kind of winding up with their bids. If you're, playing select volleyball, they do that. I think Chicago, Florida, those type of things, and they kind of take a little hiatus. Right. And then you're seeing the basketball kind of pick up a little bit. I think Lincoln, Omaha had, one of the shoe circuit, big time components there. So they had a number of athletes down there. So that overlaps going on, but then, you're a scholar, student athlete, and I think that's the most important. You're going to have finals and people kind of doing their last trip, and so pretty soon you're going to see PBA packed. For Lincoln Public Schools with graduations. You've got area schools like Norris, Seward, parents kind of doing that last hurrah and making those college decisions, and then before you know it, we're going to see down there, what 16th, 14th and R. It's always funny when it's all backed up at UNL where like the lights is just blocked off and parents are throwing mattresses on the top of the car, shoving stuff in. You're like, it didn't look, it's always interesting to me. It looks so neatly packed when you arrive. And then when you're leaving, it's like, dude, we got to get out of here. Like, just shove it in. We're not taking that. I don't know why we bought it. Leave the refrigerator over there. We'll give it to somebody. So
yeah, you always figure out how much you own when you're moving, and it's usually like you realize how much crap you have that you don't really need.
It's just horrendous. My daughter's graduating on the 6th at Northwest Missouri State, and so we rented a U-Haul, and Northwest is like the mecca for U-Haul, so they're like all rented out. They're like, we're gonna charge you this price. You might get a huge one, you might get a little one. I'm like, okay, and we're driving her like straight to Kearney after graduation because she's moving in on the 7th, and so I'm just kind of just like, okay, how much stuff has she acquired? Are we really going to take? And of course, I'm the one driving the U-Haul.
Yep.
They're just going to be speeding.
Are you pulling a trailer or you got the truck?
I think they asked us if we had a hitch. So I think it's kind of a trailer. I think it's kind of a crapshoot to be honestly, what we end up getting. We could get a semi or we could get like a flat trailer.
Are you pretty good with the trailer? About to find out.
Dude, I could barely operate the vehicle that I got going right now, but no, excited. It's an exciting time. And so, Rico keeps jumping up and down every time I say she's going to Kearney. So we'll have to talk to him about what spots not to go to. If they show up in my thread, she's at this spot. I'm like, and it says home of Rico.
That's not the one.
No. We will have to exodus that real quick.
Yeah, Rico, he's a very, very proud Kearney alum. But you know what? You can wear that one proudly. Nonetheless, if you guys want to join the show, we are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as Allo channel 951. Great way to join the show, and you can chime in on the Starter Heyman text line as well, 402-464-5685. It's a great way to join the show, engage in the conversation, and we're going to have a couple of scholars up here on the next segment as well. So I want to go ahead and preview a little bit. I know we're kind of getting into that spring transition area right now. So what do we kind of have up ahead before we throw it to break here?
Yeah, really, again, excited. Just always got good nuggets and individuals that have just kind of investing, in the community, not just in, Lincoln Public Schools, but investing in the community as a whole. And so Christina Nevitt, who is, she was at North Star High School. Some people may recognize her, a cheer coach. I think she was doing journalism. Other duties as assigned, and then went over to Northwest High School as the interim director. And so there was a transition there around semester, and so was gracious enough to go over there and provide her leadership. And then just was recently, within the last couple of weeks, announced as the full-time permanent director there. And so she's going to share a little bit about her journey. Was great to connect with her this week. We had there was an instrumental individual, and I was remiss in mentioning that, Michaela Molafola. I mispronounced, but it was a run from Mick. And so Casey there, she died of cancer early, was instrumental there. And once she was very, connected to the family. She may talk a little bit about that. But Casey up in Hastings College ran a 1.1 mile for 24 hours in her memory.
Oh, wow.
And so spoke to them about that. And then we've got two scholars here. We've got Quinn and we've got Jeremiah, who are both on the Lincoln Northwest baseball team and are scholar athletes there. And they're going to kind of share their journey, but they also got some great things coming up. They're recognizing some things that have impacted this community, and also just the country and athletics and mental health. And so they're gonna share a little bit about what their team is doing and how they're just kind of recognizing to make sure people recognize there's people out there for them and there's hope, and just to kind of stick with it. And I'm really kind of impressed about everything that they're doing. So I'm looking forward to talking to them.
Absolutely. So you heard it from Pete. We got plenty of stories ahead. And like I said, we're going all the way up until 9 o'clock. But that's not the end of Ticket Weekends. Then we got Fitness Fanatics. They'll go for 2 hours. Deep End Nebraska Swim Team, they'll go for an hour. Then we have The Breeze with Haas and DP. That'll go for an hour. So we go all the way up until 1. And we'll still have Sunday Rewind later in the day, as well as some of the softball players, I believe, as well. Softball doesn't play. I think, so we should have, I think they'll have softball tonight as well. I'll double check that one for you. But nonetheless, we'll be back with Bigger Than the Score right here on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com after this break.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Starter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. StarterHeyman.com.
Repeat after me. I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415, or online at ambitionelectric.com.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
Marcus Satterfield describing Harburg as a runner.
Eric Crouch was at practice today. He's a little bit bigger than, Eric was.
There you go.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. I didn't do anything. He brought Eric Crouch.
I don't know. I'm talking to Satterfield. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it. We've heard this before. We've heard comparisons to Husker greats before. Don't do it.
That's right.
Just don't. Just avoid that like the plague.
Well, yeah. The Heisman guy over there, he's bigger than him. So.
Yeah, this guy won a Heisman. This guy's bigger than him. He's got
This guy was nice.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more of us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
How was your job to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTechRex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo está diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/diagonal nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
Public schools are cornerstones of our communities, and it's communities that ensure students have great public schools. I'm Judy Benson, President of the Nebraska State Education Association. Learning happens at home, in school, and everywhere in between. We all have a role to play in supporting student learning in the classroom and beyond. Help us make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and the station.
Happy Hour with Nick Singleton and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
We were trying to convince Austin, who will be having a child in October, to name his child Herbie. Why do we want to name it Herbie? Because we want to have a real-life Herbie mascot, and it'll stay within the family. Yep. Austin's just patriarch. This is the first Herbie. And we found out today that Herbert is a family name. It's a family name. Therefore, it's meant to be. Austin's going to be the patriarch for Herbie.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit stoprex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Public schools are the cornerstones of our communities, and it's communities that ensure students great public schools. I'm Judy Benson, President of the Nebraska State Education Association. Learning happens at home, in school, and everywhere in between. We all have a role to play in supporting student learning in the classroom and beyond. Help us make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and the station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson from Lincoln Schools on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right. Well, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score. I'm Peter Ferguson with Peter Ferguson BHS LLC and Lincoln Public Schools. We kind of just chopped it up a little bit earlier about spring game and different things, but led into this. And so also, if you want to be part of the show, call the Honda Lincoln of hotline at 402-464-5685 or the Starter Heyman text line. We'd love to hear from you. And like I said, if you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, I think I'm going down the list. You keep adding stuff. Allo channel. So
what's wrong, Mike? That's one of my running jokes there is we have all the student ticket weeknight show. And now we're getting to the point too where they got to read sponsors before too. So
Yeah.
a couple ad reads, Starter Heyman text line. Like my inner monologue to start open up every show is like a good 30 minutes. Pretty soon it's going to be the whole hour. It's just me opening up everything. So it's a good problem to have.
Well, no, nothing wrong with that. But hey, we're excited. Got Christina Nevitt, who is the AD, the athletic director at Lincoln Northwest High School. She's been in the job as in a formal capacity. What, Christina? 2.5, 3 months?
Since January.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was a communications major, so I'll get my math straight here in a little bit. But thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your journey, who you are, where you're from. Have you always lived in Lincoln? And
Well, I grew up in York.
Okay.
Just
A York Duke then.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right.
Well, I grew up there. Did not go to high school there. I actually moved to Columbus, was a Columbus Discoverer for about a year and a half, and then moved to Omaha and was a Burke Bulldog, graduated from there, came to the university for college. Always knew I wanted to be a teacher, always knew I wanted to do secondary, just kind of flip-flop between, am I going to teach English or am I going to teach social studies? Decided to go the English route. Got done at the university. My very first teaching job was actually a Class D2 school, Chester Hubble Byron. It merged with Hebron, so now that's technically part of their central. Was there for a year. Came back to Lincoln and there weren't a lot of teaching jobs at the time.
Right.
It was kind of back where I think we were, all the schools in Nebraska were dealing with budget cuts. And so instead of teaching, I started working for the Omaha World Herald. Was one of their newspaper and education coordinators. So I was teaching teachers how to use the newspaper in their classrooms and working with kids. Was there for 4 years, came to the Journal-Star and did the same thing, and then I'm ready to get back into teaching. Awesome. So I was given the opportunity to teach newspaper, photojournalism, journalism at North Star. Started there in 2007. So North Star had only been open for 4 years when I got there. Was also given the position of the varsity and JV cheer coach. So I'm working, it was like being a first year teacher all over again, because I'd had 8 years in between my first and my second year. But I was at North Star. This was year 16 at North Star for me. And then over winter break, I got a phone call and asking if I'd be interested in being the interim athletic director at Northwest. And it had been something that I'd been wanting to do for quite a while, and had gone back to school, got my leadership degree. And this was just finally the right time and the right opportunity. So,
well, and I think, when you talked about just kind of that transition and looking at things, so you came into North Star, it was about 3-4 years old, still kind of establishing itself and traditions, and then the opportunity at Northwest. And for those that don't know, Northwest is a brand new high school. This is its inaugural year. And so, stepping into that, like why was that of interest to you? And then just what was, some of the things that you're like, yeah, this could be something that could be really, really a good fit for me.
Well, my family and I moved out to the Air Park area about 4 years ago. I watched the school go up from, groundbreaking, and, it went from, a cornfield to a high school. And I don't know, there was just something, I actually had interviewed for the job when it first opened, and wasn't chosen, which was totally fine. Looking back, it was not my time. But I remember even before being offered the interim position, I would drive by the school every day and I'm like, I don't know why, but I feel like that is my next step. That is the school that I'm supposed to be at next for whatever reason. And, I've always been a firm believer that God's got a plan, even though I have no idea what it is. And it can be really frustrating not knowing at times. But when the opportunity came, I knew that was the next place I was supposed to be.
Well, I think the cool part, I was originally going to say that you chose it because of the colors. You got K-State stuff on and it's purple. I wasn't going to mention it much, Harrison, but I know you were looking and thinking the same thing. So
yeah, well, so unfortunately, we are a little bit of a K-State household.
There's nothing wrong with that.
My oldest son actually is a senior bioag engineering major at K-State. My husband went to K-State for a while. He and I both are Husker graduates, however.
No defense necessary. It goes well with the backdrop of the red and the studio and everything.
It does. So that's the other reason I think I was destined, is because I didn't have to worry about buying different colors. My wardrobe pretty much went. It was either navy and maroon from North Star or purple for K-State. So I at least had a lot of purple going into the job.
Or what
so
that
was a
swatch
plus.
looked like. So what, as you looked at that, like what have been just give us like one highlight of your time, with a brand new school that you've seen. And then just what are some of, we've had some of the other athletic directors in here just in regards to talking about, new schools. What's also been a challenge?
Oh, wow. What I've really loved is getting to know a lot of the kids. It's really, for me, it was really hard coming in halfway through the school year because, a lot of the teachers and other administrators know who all the students are. Right. And I knew a few of the students coming in because they were North Star transfers. Right. They were kids that I'd had in class at North Star and then had chosen to go to Northwest, which was great. So I had a little bit of that connection. A lot of the teachers there I've taught with or have known from other schools and other activities. So that for me was kind of fun, being able to see those kids. And it's been kind of a highlight, getting to know the kids, who they are and their interests and whatnot. Northwest has had a lot of challenges. The school was pretty much being built during COVID. So they've run into just supply chain issues and whatnot. Yeah. Things were not 100% ready to go. Even a semester in when I came on board, figuring out, okay, we've got spring sports coming up, but we still haven't ordered uniforms for soccer and we don't know where all the implements are for the track team yet. So just trying to make sure that our coaches had what they needed by the time they needed it. And we still have a few things that we need to get ironed out, some things that we need to find and make sure that we have. And, but we're dealing with those hiccups. And honestly, the coaching staff and the students and the entire staff at Northwest have really been amazing. They've been adaptable. They've been able to, make changes on the fly if something happens, they've got to move here because, construction crew has to get in to finish something up. They've really been resilient, and it's just amazing all of the wonderful things that they're able to do over there in spite of some of the challenges that they've faced this year.
Well, I think as you kind of talked about that and just seeing, obviously, the school go from the ground up, one of the things I always want to make sure that I put out there and kind of give not only just the staff, but the scholars, their flowers, is that they are putting in just as much, if not more time than anybody else. And when you talk about, successes, a lot of people look at the score, and look at the record and, they're like, oh, okay, well, this isn't everything they want it to be, nor is it everything that those scholars that are participating want it to be, but they're putting in just as much time as championship teams, and they are a championship team. But I mean, those that will see at the end maybe raising that NSAA, and so it may be a year or two away, but changing practice times, locations, and having to do some of those things that other groups aren't having to do. I always say they're probably putting in even more time to make those accommodations to make this work. And so I want to give them credit in regards to that. But what's been one of the highlights, for the programs that you're like saying, okay, this is something that I've seen that we're going to build on and we're going to look back, 4 or 5 years from now as saying, okay, this was one of those key moments that helped build, the tradition of the school.
Oh, wow. I think it goes back to what you were saying. Our athletes are putting in, and our scholars and our athletes are just putting in so much time. And we've had conversations with them about, you guys are young because we don't have a senior class.
Right.
Junior class is fairly small. It's a lot of freshmen, sophomores, and then those few juniors, making sure they see, hey,
you're going to get there. Yeah, we might be taking our licks right now, but you're going to see the benefits down the road. And sometimes, again, the success is not in the wins and losses right now. And that's really where a lot of us are. It's in, the track kids that are PRing every meet.
Right.
And the soccer team that, at the beginning of the season, our soccer teams weren't able to finish a game because of the score. They were stopping the game early.
Well, I saw there was a win against Crete, and was that against Crete in a shootout? Yeah.
Oh,
the girls,
absolutely.
Yeah. So congratulations to congratulations
that would
to
be, and that would
the
be the
female
first.
soccer
Yes,
team.
the first one for the girls. Our boys JV soccer team on Friday just had a phenomenal game against Beatrice.
Yeah.
And Beatrice has been a pretty good soccer school for a while. My nephew played there, and JV went into a shootout, and that shootout was 6-7 players deep. I mean, it just kept tying it up. So those are, I think, the really great things that I see, that our kids are not giving up. And I think that is really going to help build our base. That I think is the highlight, is that our kids are not giving up. They are playing till the last buzzer, the last inning, you name it. They're giving it their all. They're not just laying down partway through. Oh, we're not going to be able to win this. That's not what I'm seeing. They are going as hard as they can, as long as they can. And that's great.
So, as we've had other individuals on and we've talked about just involvement in different things, talk a little bit about just, your feeling in regards to, multi-involvement. One of the nice things that I've heard a lot of individuals that went to Northwest said, this was going to give me an opportunity to do some things I may not be able to do other places. It's not that they're not being offered, just maybe because of opportunities, in elementary, middle school may not, be at a certain level. And so they're like, okay, I can get to that level, but I need to get that hands-on experiential, not wait till I'm 11th or 12th grade. How do you feel about that? Because obviously we've had a lot of individuals like, okay, I'm only going to do this one thing. I'm going to do this one sport and this, this one activity. And parents like, if they don't do it, they're not going to be successful. What are your thoughts? And what do you tell individuals at Northwest? Let's say they're just out for one thing. Do you approach them and say, hey, there's a lot of other stuff?
Absolutely. I'm a huge believer in multi-sport athletes, that even athletes are involved in things outside of sports, because I think there's a benefit. I've seen it myself and my kids. I have two boys. Both of them were 3-sport athletes, plus they played sports in the summer. I watched my oldest son, when he was a freshman, played football, decided to go out for wrestling, had never wrestled before. And then in the spring, he was a catcher. Well, I noticed that the wrestling helped him be a better catcher because it changed his center of balance. And so he was actually a lot faster, more agile, just having done that in the in-between. And he didn't do it because he thought, oh yeah, I'm going to be this awesome wrestler. He did it to be able to stay in shape in between football and baseball seasons. So, being a multi-sport athlete, there are just so many different things, because the different sports allow you to use sometimes different muscle groups depending on what you're doing. And that benefit you will actually be able to see in the other sports that you play. So I'm a huge believer in multi-sport athletes.
Well, and I think that's what I'm excited for. And so you kind of left it on a good note as we get ready to go to break, is just, the multi-sport, but also multi-involved. And I think as you talked about the culture of Northwest, I'm excited with Jeremiah and Quinn, coming up, because I think they're going to talk about something, their involvement in, not only baseball, but also broadening and impacting the greater community with the things that they're doing. So, thank you very much for being on this morning, and congratulations on the appointment. I don't think it's going to be the last time we see you. And so with that being said, you're on 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson. We'll be back after this break.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
We were trying to convince Austin, who will be having a child in October, to name his child Herbie. Why do we want to name it Herbie? Because we want to have a real life Herbie mascot, and it'll stay within the family. Yep. Austin's a patriarch. This is the first Herbie. And we found out today that Herbert is a family name. It's a family name. Therefore, it's meant to be.
Austin's going to be the patriarch for Herbie.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got to video my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopRex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina. Our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmeline and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You were so hard and taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your palm. Then pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips up, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
No, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Council.
This message is for Karina. Our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmeline and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina. Our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmeline and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Your honesty about that part of life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and the station.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Can I go to the sleepover?
If there's any drinking, I want you to say, no thanks, not my thing.
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
By DHHS and in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps is the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson from Lincoln Public School on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score. Peter Ferguson here with Peter Ferguson BHS LLC and Lincoln Public Schools. joined on the board with Harrison, and just had Christina Nevitt, who is the AD at Lincoln Northwest High School. And so one of the things she bragged on the scholars, and that was the highlight. And so we've got the highlight in here in studio with Jeremiah and Quinn, who are multi-involved individuals over there. So welcome. Glad to have you all this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So we didn't catch you off coming off prom or anything, did we?
No, we have that next week.
Okay. I think each week I've hit somebody off prom, so bright and early. Well, hey, want to get right into it. First off, and we'll start with you, Quinn. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, your journey. Have you always lived in Lincoln, and kind of who's Quinn?
So yeah, I've always lived in Lincoln. I went to Southwest for my first 2 years. I actually went to the science focus program my freshman year.
Okay.
So I just wanted to try something else. It was a cool experience, but I stopped going there my sophomore year and then transferred to Northwest.
Okay. And so where did you go to elementary, middle school? We kind of always like to give those shout outs.
So elementary school, I went to Cabot.
Okay.
And then for middle school, I went to Scott.
Okay.
So
fantastic. And then a journey. So Jeremiah, how about you?
So for me, I was homeschooled actually my entire life up until this year, my junior year at Northwest. So my parents were actually looking to transfer me from homeschool to a public school environment. And Northwood is actually perfect because it's right across the street and it's brand new. So I get to make some lasting memories and impressions there.
Awesome. So you got that great transition right there, being in the house and then coming in. We're gonna ask like what homeschool's being like, before, because my mom always said the same thing. She used to do that, but it was for some reason, that's a long conversation. A 40-year educator, but awesome. So tell me, like, why Northwest? You said it was right across the street, but what makes it what's made it the experience? Because you got a smile on your face, so I'm assuming you're having a good experience. What has made it so special for you?
I guess I can find a lot of common ground with the other students because we're all starting from scratch at somewhere new. The school's missing a lot of things, but we have a lot of people, great people there, that make this environment very great.
Awesome. And Quinn, you made that transition from, like I said, another high school to Northwest. Like, what, I don't want to say differences, but what does Northwest have that you're like, man, that makes me proud to kind of be part of that Falcon community?
Well, when I was at Southwest, there's so many kids there.
Right.
You just feel like you're just like another face. Like it's like whatever. And at Northwest, I feel like it's a lot more like you actually like teachers. You get to know your teachers a lot more. I mean, my physics class has like 7 kids in it. So I really get to know my teachers a lot better. And then at Southwest, I mean, you'd have 30 plus kids in a room. It's hard to get those relationships with teachers.
Awesome. And, I always want to make sure, tell us a little bit about your family and who's all in your crew.
Yeah. So I have my mom and dad, they're listening at home. I have a brother. He's a freshman at UNL. And yeah, we have a dog at home.
Okay, going down the pets and everything. I like that. That's a nice shout out to the pet. Jeremiah, how about you?
I have a twin sister. She's outside listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's her name? Give her some shout. Give her a little bit of a shout out now.
Madeline is my sister.
Madeline, how you doing out in the parking lot? We didn't know you were out there. He just gave us that information. You could have come in.
But she's a junior with me at Northwest.
Okay.
I have 4 other siblings besides me. Most of them are out of the house actually. We still have 2 at home. Just my parents, and we have 2 cats and a dog at home.
Okay. I like that, Harrison. This is one of the first times that shout outs to the pets.
Yeah, I got a couple dogs at home.
Yeah,
I like it. You got to show support to those guys.
I was going to say shout out to Pookie, Snoopy, and all, the crew coming in from the cold this week. And so both of you play baseball. Tell me, how did your journey into sports kind of come into play? So Quinn, what got you interested in sports? Parents, watching somebody on TV? Where did it all start?
Well, I was playing t-ball at like 2 or 3,
Okay.
probably 3, and my brother also did the same. So I've always grown up watching him. We used to always go to Husker games, go to College World Series whenever possible. So I mean, baseball has always just been like that part of my life that I've always just done.
Awesome. And what position you play?
Second base, pitcher.
Okay. One of you does it all. And Jeremiah, how about you?
I didn't get into baseball until later. Actually, I was 14 when I played on my first team. Because before that, I couldn't do weekend games and stuff like that because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. We respect the hours from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going on there and they can't do. But we found a league when I was a teenager. We found a league that had games during the week that I could do, and that was good. Yeah.
No, and that's awesome, because oftentimes we hear people like you got one spectrum. You started T-ball at 2 or 3, and you played at 14. So tell us what was that like, getting involved at 14 years old, and now you're on a high school varsity, and high school JV team.
It was definitely it felt like I was behind a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of skills that younger athletes develop that I missed. But I have been active my whole life. I have done sports with co-ops and stuff like that in the homeschool community. So it's not like I was coming from scratch. I just had to apply them differently. And that definitely helped moving into high school. There are definitely a lot of kids who are better than me, obviously. But I'm working on it, and they are definitely helping me to get better.
I think that what you're talking about in both of your experiences, that's valuable for parents and also valuable for young people, because I think sometimes they feel like if they don't get it at a certain age or whatever else, they can't participate, they can't compete at a high level. And so I appreciate you sharing like your experience, your journey, because that's a little bit different than traditionally what we always hear. Before we transition, because I know you all have you're part of that baseball community, you're doing something extremely beneficial, raising some awareness and access to individuals. Tell me who's been a mentor in your life, and what pieces of advice they have given you.
I would definitely say, obviously answer my parents, but they've just always been there. If you mess up, that's whatever, they can help you fix it. They're always there to just listen. So I have a relationship with them to where I can really tell them anything.
Awesome.
Like it's whatever. So I just think all the stuff that they've done for me has just gotten me to where I'm at.
Now, powerful, Rich. How about you, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Quinn on that. My parents are definitely a huge guiding force in my life, especially my dad. He's probably the one I could go to for probably anything. He's great at talking through things with me.
Awesome. So you all are obviously on the Northwest baseball team, and I think this week, or is it this week or next week, you're having a game that is to help raise awareness and promote understanding of mental health. And so tell us a little bit about that and the significance of that. I believe it's against Lincoln High.
Yeah, so that's going to be this coming up Saturday, which I believe is the 29th. And the game is at noon at Den Hartog, which is right next to East and Seacrest. And we just want to show that it's okay to talk about, just break the stigma that you can't reach out to anyone. It's always going to be better. You never know what people are going to go through. Just our team's really focused on just trying to help other people. Just simply holding the door open for someone is going to change their day.
And that's awesome when you talk about, and that all the show's bigger than the score. And so you all are taking it past that. You've had some successes on the field, but also want to reach out to make sure that it touches more than just those athletes on the team. So Jeremiah, tell me a little bit about, why you feel like this is important. And this is kind of a cool part of the Northwest baseball team that you're reaching out and impacting others.
I think it's a big opportunity to help athletes know that they can reach out and help, and to find someone and to let them know a few people that they could reach out to get to help. I know for me personally, I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform at a high level, and I don't always meet that. But instead of bottling up and trying to tough it out, just talk to someone. It helps.
Well, and I think they said that, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say that on air. If you need something, talk to someone. Don't hold it in. There's various resources, whether, you're a scholar, you got counselors, you've got teachers, food service individuals, coaches, parents, and vice versa. If you're an adult, same way, whether it's a supervisor, a colleague, or a coworker, make sure you talk to someone. So Quinn, what is the game going to entail? So I know you guys have some different components that are going to happen with that in conjunction with Lincoln High. So is there a special first pitch? Is there, some different components? How can people support?
So I believe we are trying to get a first pitch.
Okay.
I'm not too sure on who that's going to be. I haven't gotten those details yet, but we have jerseys that we're going to wear pregame that, so like the color for mental health awareness is green.
Okay.
So it's going to have like green lettering for Falcons. It's going to have all these like be kind to all kinds, stuff like that.
Awesome.
And so we're going to wear those pregame, and then we're going to have like green wristbands. Like I have one on right now.
You can go ahead and hold it up now. We're on multi streams right there.
So-
Right there. Okay.
So we got like a green wristband here. It just says be kind to all kinds, and then I believe green socks. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
we're just gonna try to just spread as much awareness as possible.
And again, just for those if they want to come to the game, when is the game?
April 29th.
Okay.
Which is this coming up Saturday at noon. And then
And that's is it at Den Hartog?
That's at Den Hartog.
Okay.
Right on A Street, 70th and A.
Okay. Fantastic. So we definitely, and we'll continue. We'll talk to DP and make sure we get that message out there. We just had Hope Shortridge on, who did the Southwest East game earlier this week.
Did a good job too.
Yeah, did a phenomenal job. And so I think raising that awareness, but also this just takes it another step. I love the fact of, how you're also collaborating with other schools to put that out there. I know Kaylee Dankers, who's one of the state Hope representatives. You're also tied in with the Hope Squads
I am, yeah.
at the schools.
Mhm.
Okay. And are you a member?
I am, yes.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about what Hope Squad is.
So, I mean, we're just there for any students that just need to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be like if something's just not going right with their day, they can just reach out. If they just need help because their home life is not great, we can help them reach the like the school therapist, who is great. She helps with our Hope Squad, and I mean, we're just there for anyone that needs it.
Awesome. So Jeremiah, tell us a little bit about like some advice. I always like to ask, like, what advice would you give to scholars? And you gave some nuggets already. But what is some advice you'd give to scholars? And then more importantly, what is some advice you would give to parents?
Well, for the scholars, just know that it's okay to not be okay. Everyone has their issues. They go through their struggles. Life happens. Not everything's gonna go perfectly ever. Just reach out. Just talk to someone. It may not seem like it helps. It may be uncomfortable, but you'll thank yourself and others for it if you do. And then for parents, just make sure, just try to be as aware as possible of what your student or athlete is going through. Don't be too pushy. Just show them you care and that you are there for them.
Wow. I like what you've kind of kept a consistent theme with what we've had is like parents, let it be their journey. And whatever that might need to look like, but be supportive. And then, like you said, talk to someone. It's okay not to be okay. And I think sometimes we don't always put that out there. So hearing that from you is greatly appreciated. Quinn, what is some advice that you would have for, scholars, your peers, those that are younger? And then for us, I guess, more seasoned adults, a nice way of saying old.
I'd say for parents is just check up on your kid. I mean, like, not that doesn't happen, but I mean, like with mental health, I mean, kids can look just fine, and then when they get alone is when it's bad. So I mean, they can look just fine on the outside, but on the inside they're really suffering. So just checking up with your kid, just making sure they're all right. And then for kids, I would just say just really have time, focus on yourself. Like, you don't want to be too burnt out of like any activity that you're in. Like, it's okay to just like take a step back, just make sure everything's good. So I just think just don't go too fast.
Awesome. I love that right there. Don't go too fast because it'll come to, it'll come to an end soon. Hey, Jeremiah, Quinn, I want to thank both of y'all for being on today. I also want to thank you for raising awareness of mental health. That'll be Lincoln Northwest against Lincoln High next Saturday on the 29th at Den Hartog Field. Contact Lincoln Northwest if you want any more information on how you can support. And then just always try to end with a quote. So Rita Dove, the first African-American woman named Poet Laureate of the United States, she stated, "Courage has nothing to do with our determination to be great. It has to do with what we decide in that moment when we are called upon to be more." And so thank you all for answering the call and being more than just a scholar athlete and being bigger than the score. Until next week, you're on 93.7 The Ticket, bigger than the score. Have a great week.